classes in session hour 106.
Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride thinking the bus will never stop, the passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend. Hail the man, that's your brother on the street. Hail the man, every time we meet. Hail the brother, equal man. Hail the sister, shake a hand, it's a brand new day. I really wanted to say is love, 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 love. Equal man, shake a hand. Love, 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 love. Mm, mm, mm. Or a king. Mm. Hail the man, that's your brother on the street. Hail the man, every time we meet. Hail the brother, equal man. Hail your sister, shake a hand, it's a brand new day. Order it anyway. What we really want to say is love, 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 love on the street. Hail the man. Hail the man, equal man. Hail your sister, shake her hand, it's a brand new day. Say, is love, 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 love. Brother on the street. Hail the man, every time we meet. Hail the brother, equal man. Hail the sister, shake her hand, it's a brand new day. Anyway, Really want to say is love, love. We started out this afternoon with the poetry of Naomi Shihab Ni, Kindness, and followed that up with Hail the Man, Hail the Man by Ernie Smith. We'll come back to that in a moment. It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 23rd day of the third month of 2023, the International Year of Millets, which are cereals grown in warm countries and regions with poor soils, bearing a large crop of small seeds, which are chiefly used to make flour. 2023 is also the International Year of Dialogue as a guarantee of peace. Here in Jamaica and in the United States, the month of March is being observed as Intellectual Disabilities Awareness Month. Also in the US, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, Endometriosis Awareness Month, and Salt Awareness Month. And in the UK, March is also Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and it's Women's History Month as well. It's Pakistan Day in Pakistan, like where else? It's World Meteorological Day. Hoy es jueves el 23 de marzo 2023. Y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa, Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continua para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est jeudi le 23 mars 2023 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez, que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Thursday, the 23rd of March, 2023, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to both sides of the story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Morant Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. We welcome those of you who are watching us on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM. And you too will be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you do not have a Facebook account, no sweat. There's always YouTube. You don't need to have an account in order to access YouTube by way of the Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel. All you need is a smart device, whether it be a tablet, computer, laptop, desktop, any one of those. Then you're going to need internet connection and, better yet, internet connectivity. One sure way to test for connectivity is by opening a browser like Google Chrome, for example. And if you're able to browse, then you're good to go. If not, then you might need some assistance. We thank those of you who have logged on to the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. There's more after the break.
It's a Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships takes place from Tuesday, March 28th to Saturday, April 1 at the National Stadium. And Power 106 FM brings you all the action. Tune into both sides of the story. Tuesday, March 28th to Friday, March 21 for updates. Roundup during Power Play. Tuesday, March 28th to Friday, March 21. And live simulcast on Saturday, April 1. Coverage of the Miss Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships is brought to you by Imperial Optical Jamaica, Coast to Coast Uber Companies, Moscow Hardware, Marja Black Quarry and Rock Factory, Community Men's Pharmacy, Fire Equipment Sales and Services Limited, Massive Used Parts, Super Valley Auto Care Center Limited, BW Investments, and CIWI Electrical Sales Limited. Hey, sister, shake your hand, it's a brand new day. We can see it anyway, but what we really want to see. Dog, 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 dog. Hey, that's it, right along the sea. Say, hey, man, every time we
Thanks a lot for staying with us. Hello to those of you listening to us as well via the Poro 106 FM app, which you've downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. Hello to some of our listeners who have joined us. Bratislava Borivodjova says, Buenas tardes, Dervan. Saludos desde Costa Rica. So saying good afternoon from Costa Rica. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Bratislava Borivodjova. Hello as well to Faye Weller. She says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and your faithful listeners. I'm here listening. Welcome, Faye Weller. Bratislava Borivodjova says, muy bien, ese español, Dervan. You're very kind. You're very kind. Thank you very much. Bratislava Borivodjova also says, adelante, as in forward. Got you. He says, good afternoon, Faye Weller and listeners as well. Robert Young says, Sir Dervan, keep up the great job. I'm looking at the change. Hair, Hair. Yes, that's what happens when your shaving and trimming apparatus go bust and you haven't been able to find the time to replace them. That's what you're looking at. Don't worry, we'll fix that soon. Thank you very much, Robert. All the very best to you. And we look forward to your usual participation. Well, the lines are open. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Hello to Sonia Henderson McCullough, former teacher at Calabar High School. She says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan Malcolm. Good afternoon to you, Mrs. Sonia Henderson McCullough. Good to see you. I think she taught, was it chemistry? The sciences. Good to see you online. Welcome. And Robert Young is having a good laugh at my expense, I would imagine. What with the changing color of my hair and having hair on as opposed to being totally bald. So it is. Every now and then we have to judge a different one, right? As they say. Thank you very much. So what's on your mind this afternoon? Your collective mind, the collective mind of you, our faithful listeners at home and abroad. Would love to hear from you. As we've told you, the lines are open, 876-922-4112-5. That's 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Hello to Bernadette Ogilvy. She says, hello, Mr. Malcolm. It's great listening to you another time. And it's great having you on board as a listener, Bernadette Ogilvy. Thank you very much for your message. Bishop Paul Mays says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Bishop. How are you? We trust all is well with you and yours. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you on board. And we look forward to sharing with you. And a couple of stories trending. We usually like to give you an update of sorts, especially if you've been too busy to pay attention to the news. The Gleaner, through their Jamaica-Gleaner.com website, is reporting that entertainer Tommy Lee Sparta has been released from prison. Also, serial sex offender gets 31 years in prison. The tragedy of an uncle allegedly fatally stabbing his nephew in Portland. A 16-year-old boy charged with murder. Students being cautioned not to chase JUTC buses. And we'll leave those couple of stories or so for the time being. So those are just a few of the stories that are trending. As far as the Gleaner's website is concerned, that's the Jamaica-Gleaner.com website. Hello to Asha Ash in London, England. Welcome. Good to have you on board. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, the numbers to call, 876-922-4112-5. Sharon Richards in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland is hitting us up on Facebook Live. She says, blessed good afternoon, Sir Malcolm, and all the beautiful people near and far. One love. One love to you too, Sharon Richards in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. Tina Times says, hello, Dervan and listeners. Mr. Malcolm, what are your thoughts on Minister Clark Massa Mark utterance? Well, we dealt with that yesterday. I'm sorry you missed it. We would rather, having dealt with it, just moving right along. But there's the saying, there's the quotation that we took from former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable P.J. Patterson. And as I remember what he said, because it was a time when there was a leadership campaign was on. And he was speaking at a function. It was carried on the news, primetime news it was. And he said, when you occupy certain positions, you give up freedom of speech. When you occupy certain positions, like prime minister, president, you get the picture, right? When you occupy certain positions, you give up freedom of speech. It means you're not free to just run your mouth and say whatever comes to your mouth. When you do that, what you'll be doing is telling us more about who you are by virtue of what you say and how you say it, how you express yourself. You're really telling us you're giving us some insights into who you really are as to who you purport to be when in a certain place or space, etc. On the face of it, as we've always said on this program, there is no such thing as a bad word. But what we have are what are called social constructs. This is a scenario where a society collectively condemns a particular type of behavior and self-expression, etc. And so members of the population within that nation conventionally try to abide by said convention, by whatever standards the society collectively sets. And I don't know what else I can say about that. There are there are people who will take offense if certain terms and phrases and innuendos are transmitted, and they'll take offense to it. And depending on who you are, you ask for some kind of uh, you ask for some kind of apology, depending on the scenario, etc. But of your mouth in the first place is exactly what you meant to come out. For to say sorry for that now, it's one of those again social constructs that says if you offend somebody, if you think you have offended somebody, then you apologize. But really, what it speaks to is a need for a greater level of decorum among those of us who are supposed to know better. Because the other thing we like to say on this program is there's only one way to lead, and that is by example. And by, as we said earlier on, by virtue of what you do or fail to do, you tell us a lot about you. That actually rhymes. Let's go to the phone lines 876 922 4112 to 5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. I humbly accept the designation. Good afternoon. What's happening there? Sir, what before you go on though, before you go on, what are the characteristics of a ghetto? So it's a broken place. Mm, I see. Hold on. Tell us more after the break, please.
Welcome to the new dimension in eye care, the optical zone, offering exceptionally comfortable eyewear. We fill prescriptions and do eye examinations. This complete optical store is conveniently located at Shop 14, North Plaza, Harvey Tree. Telephone 929-8656. The Optical Zone, providing vision for life. Become the hero on the scene by taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as it all the stories into the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to see face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safe for everybody from home to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally? When teachers were harder, and if you want to live a good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated and happy.
Thanks for holding. Please continue. Uh-huh.
Watching over the grocery store because they're robbing a lot of supermarkets in Portmore as well, and it's not making the news. And all the security that is in Portmore, the private security companies, we send out letters to all the businesses in Portmore that the business with them and right, telling them that the security still is going to raise by between 30 to 42%. And a lot of the securities over there won't have any job come next month. because the teachers over there who got their increase and living in these jobs and pay all the house for everybody, their increase that they get, they can't match the minimum wage and pay for the maintenance security for the charges at the same time. So the inflation has gone up significantly in Portmore, and as a result of that, people trying to counter it by raising their rent, and even the poor domestic workers and the security them who rent out over there is causing a bangalang. And to make things worse, Mr. Malcolm,
Mhm.
people who live in the charter who benefit from the security, when they rent in their house, they get everything on top of the 24-hour security. As a result of they put up the rent more.
Uh-oh.
There's an exploited thing going on. The average rent in Portmore is between 40,000 to 50,000 now. That is very high rent.
It
Uh-huh.
is. Yes, yes.
So all you hear them talking about the budget debate and the budget debate is the manifestation of how we manifest it spiritually among one another. How we decide to share the wealth. That is going to be the fruit of the budget. Because the fruit is in the eating ground.
Right.
So you see some of the security telling me that they're supposed to get overtime come the first of April by court order. And it seems to me now that they're going to cut the hours now. Some of them used to work 12 hours and they should be getting 8 hours basic pay based on the 14,000 a week. But and time and a half for anything over that, they're going to just shuffle them now to do the 8 hour shift. And after them going to lose money.
But have their matters been dealt with yet, though? I don't get the impression that the security guards areas have been confirmed in terms of what they're entitled to, etc. I'm
Now the court issued the order from
Yeah,
last week
yeah, that they
that
should.
is supposed to be April this year. And then Mr. Owens announced in Parliament that the security going to go up in June.
Yeah,
So
but
security
but
going
what
to
I'm
go up.
saying, I don't get the impression that everything is signed, sealed, and delivered.
Hey, Mr. Malcolm,
That's
wait
what
now.
I'm saying. Yes,
And you don't hear none of them talk about it in the budget. So Mr. Malcolm,
yes.
um,
So the
it's
question is, sorry, stick up in. I don't want you to forget what you're about to say. So they're in limbo then. I mean, I wonder how they're managing. Anyway,
a lot of them having sleepless nights, Mr. Malcolm, because they're going to lose revenue. And to put it worse than that, to come the first of April this year, one of the reasons why the police was so eager to sign and get the election, because come the first of April, the government has to start paying Jamaica constabulary report. 5.5 for any hours done, over 8 hours per day, and double time on weekend and triple time on public holiday.
well,
At the expense of the Jamaican people.
I heard in the news the government says 10.1 billion has been set aside.
Yes, and at the same time, Mr. Malcolm, the security companies are selling the supermarkets in Portmore that they have to pay between 30 to 42% more for security charges. And guess how they plan to raise back that money?
From the public.
Yeah, they push up the food prices, them one for the shelf.
Oh,
And then some of the supermarkets, when you go to them in Portmore, the price that is on the commodity that you see in a lot of the buying and some sardines, and when you go to pay the cashier, that's the same price on the machine.
well, we perhaps need to have check in with the Consumer Affairs Commission to see if they are still doing the survey, which tells us what a tin of sardine or mackerel costs in supermarket A as opposed to grocery store B, etc. So yeah.
And if you last time that store, you need to come into Portmore and look in the supermarket and start weighing all the oats and weighing all the things them because inflation over there. The things them coming up sharp, Mr. Malcolm.
Well, the solution to that is not to leave the grocery store or the supermarket short, but make sure you can, if even from a layman's standpoint, to adequately or sufficiently judge the weight of items that you pick up. But but you have a choice. If you insist on getting a receipt and you're not being given one, then you go and you shop somewhere else. Well, I haven't tested everybody in Baltimore. No, but I get the point you're I get the point you're making. It's a dormitory community, and most of the people who live in Portmore are from different professional groups, police, nurses, uh, everybody who has any skills or talents, etc. They have quite a bit, uh, with a population of, what was the population the last time I checked? About 300,000, I believe. Mm. Well, a lot is going to be up to the stewardship of those who hold the reins of Portmore. Where's that story so we can find it like the gold? The edge. Oh. Mhm. Mm. All right, hold on. I'm just seeing a story in terms of the central banks and gold. The Economist has a story why why central banks are stockpiling gold. Yes, the the m- the metal, as in gold, offers a hedge against inflation and a way to circumvent sanctions. Mhm. Well, that would be quite a dramatic lifestyle change for him because of where you're coming from and what you are used to. Uh, no, you can't afford that.
You know, just saying if you pretend you love me, you know, when we're ready to keep it, I'm all come.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. Yes.
With a man come, you know, whenever we are on with my father,
Oh,
just tell you one of the people. We take four people to and train them, you know? And we have four doctors and 15 of them in America. And if anytime we have to up with a more to check up, we have to doctor to get check up. You know what that problem that is, the name is not my professor.
I guess you're going back to the days of what they call it, bartering.
Hallelujah!
Yes.
You know, we call the formula, money never dead until the man dead. We have a doctor right now who is healing from Jesus. I'm Mr. Carl, I should have fluctuating to champion, I'm the emperor with all our kids. And her father said, Mr. Carl, that's have a medical school now. And when she done medical school now, she work at public. And if you
So
want all my asthma prescription, you just pick up the phone and say, Mishka, me need a prescription. And you say, oh, Mr. Carl, come for the prescription.
yeah.
How
What
beautiful is that, Mr. Malcolm?
you're adding value to people's lives. That's
Hallelujah.
what you're doing.
And that more
Yes.
people report more people than say. Food more. When the Prime Minister come over there and try to bribe the poor people with this part that they're going to play, we need to ask the Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, tell me, what is going to demand the poor more because the municipality is broke? And we don't have any more money over here to pay you the land tax, sir. So what are you doing with that? That's the $1 million question I want to ask the Prime Minister when he come over here.
All right. Let's leave it there for now if we can, please, because we have to break. We have a scheduled interview coming up.
Take care, my professor.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now 2:25. No matter who you are, where you are, or where you are to, link up with everybody. We're here to help. Putting a solution in your hands. For the hustlers and 9 to 5ers, the bill payers and bill forgetters, the credit senders and the plan buyers. For those without or email linkup@jagra.org. Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness, your one stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876
Yeah,
9224
yeah, yeah.
1125 or by sending a
I
text
thought
or
I didn't
WhatsApp
give you
message
the.
to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM. All you'll ever need to know about agriculture in the 21st century, packed into one program. Farm Talk with Alton McKenzie. Farm Talk, showcasing cutting edge agricultural products, services, and practices. Farm Talk, keeping focus on issues affecting the farming community. Farm Talk, stimulating discourse to propel agriculture as a national tool for development. Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, the farmer's best friend.
When I listen to you in the mornings and the way you interview the people so that us as farmers can really understand, you break it down. It's really powerful.
Wake up to Farm Talk, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
You don't have it? The number is there as well. You don't see anything else before that was? Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. In this segment, we want to talk about music education. And we thought, in the scheme of things, a good person to talk with on these matters is Mr. Joshua Chamberlain. He is Special Projects Coordinator at the Alpha School of Music. Joshua Chamberlain, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. I'm very, very glad to be here. It's funny that I'm the person that talks about music, but that's the way the world works sometimes.
Indeed. And why do you say it's funny?
The only instrument I can play is the telephone.
That's a good one.
But
Yes.
I love music.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Yes.
working with musicians. I love working with Alpha. I've been working with Alpha for almost 20 years in various ways.
Yes.
So I've really seen the growth at the school and the growth in music education and what comes with it. So I'm very glad to talk about it. It's just, I really, and one of the ways I need to start taking lessons myself.
Yes. And the thing too is that music and those who are involved in music also need to be managed.
That's true. We can't have
And
good musicians. I think great musicians, great teachers produce great musicians.
Mhm.
And I think that great music administrators help produce great teachers because Alpha has always benefited from an amazing dedication to getting the right people at the school to do the right teaching. And you see the results. Alpha is
Yes.
very fortunate to have the people that it has, from Gay Magnus, who's running the music program, Cleon Samuel, the senior music instructor, Sparrow Martin, of course. It's very important, and you have to have the right people doing the right thing.
That's right. And can you give us just a quick update based on your work at the Alpha School of Music? How's Alpha doing these days, especially for those who perhaps have been away from Jamaica for some time now and uh, not sure what is happening now or how Alpha has evolved and perhaps is still evolving?
Certainly. I mean, following the history of the school is really, there's such a long history, and they've done so much recently. But if a quick catch up is, of course, Alpha has over 100 years of music education. From people like Joe Harriet, Winston Francis, who are now living in the UK, to people like the Gaynor brothers, Johnny Osborne, Leroy Smart. But many of the musicians that we hear, we don't know their names, but we hear their music also pass through the school. Bob Marley's horn section, members of Zap Pow, the Scatolites, and Alpha is still producing musicians, and it's even growing.
Mm-hmm.
So we know about the trade program and the fact that Alpha provides music education and academic instruction to at-risk young men, 15 to 22 years old. It's now a day school. But recently, in the last couple of years, Alpha started a new program, which is this Alpha School of Music, which is really a tertiary degree. And it was set up because we traveled with the trade school students who were considered, that they weren't really going to move forward in life, so they ended up at Alpha. But they ended up doing great things. And we took them to Berklee College of Music in Boston. We took them to London, to the Royal Albert Hall, and to the South Bank, and to doing music on both sides of the pond. And the trade students did such a good job that one of them even got offered a full scholarship to a university in London.
Wow.
But these students, they didn't have the academic background, they didn't have the financials. Of course, most of them don't. So Alpha knew that there was something else that needed to be done, and the Alpha School of Music was created 2 years ago, which is a vocational degree, an associate degree. So it's vocational, it's music, and it's open to any young man or woman, 16 to 25 across Jamaica, who wants to make music their career. And we found that it's not just Alpha students, trade students who are capable and are passionate and are ready to do it. It's young men and women across the country. And so Alpha has now become a national institution. And they have music performance, music technology, recording studio on campus. And over the past couple of years during COVID, they really renovated the facility to become a modern music school. They have modern practice spaces, a beautiful technology lab, beautiful rehearsal spaces, an amphitheater for performances. It has everything you would want, I think, from even a radio station.
How is that? How is that going?
It's a blast. We have people who love Jamaican music and know about the story of Alpha. It's like a family, and we hear from them. We hear what they like. We hear what they want to hear more of. And people come to Jamaica because they've been listening and they want to know it firsthand. But Alpha continues to be a way to get people excited about music, and we're just glad to be able to continue to do that and see young people be as excited as we are about the importance of music and the opportunity to bring. Music is not just playing in a band. Music is radio. Music is making jingles. Music is producing music, and Alpha is doing all of those.
How equipped is the Alpha School of Music with the requisite know-how, tools, and value-added components?
That's a great question because music changes very fast, as you know, and technology changes super fast. So Alpha, though, I think has the right people in place, and they're always trying to be one step ahead in terms of what's next, and making sure that Alpha students have access to it. One of the ways that we do that is partnerships with industry. So Alpha has some great partners with brands, music technology brands, music instrument brands, as well as employers across in Jamaica and out, who really help us understand where the industry is going. So Alpha does have digital mixing boards. We do have the recording studio. Students are learning Pro Tools as well as Logic. But they're also, it's based on a music performance. Even though technology is important, Alpha is a performance program. You have to have a musical instrument in terms of piano, keyboard, woodwind. Students do enter, you have to do an audition, and students can audition using a computer, and they have, using a DJ controller, and they have. But once you're accepted, you do have to select an instrument, a traditional instrument, to work on going forward. But this is now, I think, our second year of a 4-year program. So going forward, you could even expect a digital. Even though the traditional instruments are the primary instruments, there is a real emphasis on embracing and using and exploring technology, even sound systems. Alpha actually has now a sound system course. Students are learning how to perform on a sound, how to set up a sound, and Alpha has a sound system itself. It's a part of Jamaican culture. It's a part of Alpha's culture. It's important that people are trained properly.
And what, as we get ready to wrap, what are some key points that you would like to leave with our listeners at home and abroad with respect to Alpha School of Music and obviously the teaching of music?
Well, I think most importantly, Dervan, is that this is March. We try to celebrate March for music education as much as possible and get people excited about music education. There's is not enough music education, and that's true across the world. But music is so important here in Jamaica that it really is much more than just music. It's identity, it's employment, it's travel, and all of that. So Alpha is now really investing in it, and we invite people to take a look at what Alpha is doing. Young men and women, family members, even overseas, who have youth or family members in Jamaica who are interested in music. So Alpha is doing things that are at the forefront, and it's a great option for a young person interested in music and contributing to the culture and themselves. Great opportunities are available, and it's something that people, I think, will get a lot of benefit from. In addition, just being excited about music, March for Music Education. We have on the radio website and on the school website, we have all these different ways to share your love for music education. So you could, if you're interested in music education and you want to support that, we invite people to go to the website, alphamusicja.com, check out the radio station as well.
Please tell us, how do we? Is the radio station streaming, or is it free to air?
It's a streaming station anywhere in the world. Alpha Boys School Radio.
Okay.
.com. AlphaBoysSchoolRadio.com. There are two S's, Boys School. And every single song has an Alpha graduate on the track.
Whoa.
It's a curated experience about Alpha alumni contributions to the music that we know and love.
Oh, that is rich. That is very rich. Speaking of rich, how is the institution doing in terms of funding?
We're rich with love, sir. We're rich with love. But we are, school education is always a costly thing, and music even more so. So we really would like to make as much of a effort to encourage people to support music education wherever they are. And if Alpha could be a beneficiary or of interest to people, we'd love to make sure that support is put to great use. We have seen what music can do. We have seen young men really become grown men.
Yes.
And take music in great directions. And Alpha is not just about the music, but about the person. So it's the Sisters of Mercy that run Alpha and have been running for over 100 years. It's not just about music, it's about the person and being a part of the society. Alpha is a way to practice that. And that's why I should mention Alpha's program is all based on band. You like to say you come in with a flute or a trumpet, but you leave with a band.
Oh.
Because it's that group, that collective, that gives you so much more opportunities, networking, experiences that you just can't get on your own.
Yeah, it promotes. Yeah, it's like team. It's a team. Together, everyone achieves more.
Very much so. And that's a part of life.
Yes.
So, not just music skills, these are life skills.
Absolutely.
We're looking out for the person and getting them those skills going forward, their life skills.
Well put. Looking forward to another opportunity to talk with you on these matters. We're out of time for the segment now, though. But thank you very much, and happy March for Music. Is it March for Music Month?
March for Music Education, exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much. Take care. That's Joshua Chamberlain, Special Projects Coordinator with Alpha School of Music.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3:01 on Power 106.
I will the assignment to the part to the James. Because from man, you left out, I just one of them days where the minister was storing more than one location. So a lot of moving around. But that means enough mileage to claim this month, man. Nice little change that, not true? So we can still claim for mileage under the new compensation system? Yeah, man. See, I almost dashed for the money there. Reimbursement for mileage still applies.
Public officers who are required to travel on work assignments are still eligible to claim for work-related approved travel under the new compensation system. The new GOJ compensation system. Better pay, better pension. Visit the Ministry of Finance and the Public Services website for more information.
No matter who you are, where you are, or where you are, do, link up with everybody. We're here to help. putting the solution in your hands. For the hustlers and 9 to 5ers, the bill payers and the bill forgetters, the credit senders and the plan buyers, for those without bank account and those who have bank accounts. It's like we say, this are the money up for everybody. That's why life is better with Link. Download the app today. On your mark. The Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships takes place from Tuesday, March 28 to Saturday, April 1 at the National Stadium. And Power 106 FM brings you all the action. Tune into both sides of the story. Tuesday, March 28 to Friday, March 31 for updates. Roundup during Power Play. Tuesday, March 28 to Friday, March 31. And live simulcast on Saturday, April 1. Coverage of the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships is brought to you by LockSafe and Bolt Limited, Ricardo Stationery and Office Supplies, Patients First Pharmacy, Tomating's Hardware and Farm Store, Barry's Hardware, Beverly Hills Pharmacy, Wellington Dental, Signature Products and Awards Limited, and Margins Pharmacy. Really wanna see love, 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 love.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Here's a listener who has been holding for a little while now for 33 minutes, 47 seconds. Thanks for your patience. Good afternoon. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. Malcolm. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all your listeners. It seems as if you have to go try and get Mr. Neville Carter on your program, like as a host, so people can call in and ask questions, because I love listening to him.
I'm sure
So
he's happily receiving what you have. I'm sure he's happily receiving what you have said.
Yeah, man, you have to get him for the program one evening, man, and so people can call it. He always have some very interesting things to say. When slavery was abolished, you see, to my understanding, I think the Queen or those slave masters when give the slave them land, right? Am I right?
In the Maroon Wars, between the English and the Maroons, they agreed on the allocation of land.
Mm-hmm.
So it was bringing the wars, the Maroon Wars, to an end. Part of that was to declare certain swathes of land, large swathes of land, to members of the Maroon community as part of the peace treaty.
Okay, so it was only for the Maroons then, for that those slavery, not just for the Maroon. It wasn't for like a general island-wide.
No.
Okay, so maybe I had it wrong then.
Not to be confused with the general operations of slavery, where what you had was like the missionaries, the church people, starting what they call free villages. And Sligoville is, of course, Jamaica's foremost free village. It was the first free village in Jamaica, arising out of slavery. So you have those as well, where particular individuals lead settlements. They start settlements. A lot of them, the names are still associated with them. Clarksonville. I can't remember all of them now, but they're quite a few.
All right. Okay. I was just wondering. I was saying to myself, where did government get so much land, as what they call it, crown land?
Yeah, well,
I believe that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I believe that any individual that born before independent should have a little piece of land for themselves. That is my belief.
And
my
how?
understanding.
What would be the basis on which they come into that kind of ownership of land? How should that have been done, or could that be done?
Okay, let me see if I can back up myself here now.
In other words, do you just stand up? Do you just stand on the steps of one of the former great houses and say, "Come and get land here, land over there for you, land over there, etc."
No. Really. I'm not a historian, but my belief is that remember according to history, when that man Columbus came here, they said there was some little Arawak Indian were here. And you know the story.
The Tainos who spoke an Arawak an Arawak language, yes.
Right. And then the English, and then they went back and they brought slavery, and then the English come, and there was a little war between the English and the Spaniard, and then and then after a long while, then peace treaty signed. And so what happened to all those land? What happened to the land in Jamaica? What is what they call crown land? Is it really for government to own land?
Yeah, it's sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, is it for government to really own land, or it's those land coming back from way back? I know those land are coming back from way back from slavery days. So the government get all this land to claim that it is crown land.
Well, once Admiral Penn and General Venables, who initially were sent by the Lord Protector of England, Oliver Cromwell, to capture the island of Hispaniola, which to this day is shared between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. When Oliver Cromwell sent out Penn and Venables to capture Hispaniola, they failed, but they didn't want to go back to. Well, they were embarrassed, and didn't want to go back to the UK. They didn't want to go back to England empty-handed. So they took the next best thing, which was Jamaica. They just essentially said, "All right, they went to try and capture Hispaniola. Spain beat them back, so to speak, and they then turned to Jamaica to say, you know what? Let us capture this place here called Jamaica." And they captured Jamaica from. They captured Jamaica, and obviously, if they captured Jamaica, then it means whatever constitutes Jamaica falls under the ownership of whoever is governing that piece of land at that point in time. So it means any decision to be made with respect to that piece of land called Jamaica would have to come from whoever is in charge of that land, Jamaica.
Yeah, I think I read that some time ago, and because there may think that we Jamaicans are sort of ignorant to that. We don't know, and the government is not letting us know. For instance, the police force was organized, I understand, after a rebellion
that story is very well known, though. That's very well known. In fact, there's a musical, there's a production, a theatrical musical production that has been done on that to detail 1865, what happened in 1865, the Morant Bay Rebellion, and all that flowed from it. So that bit is well, and it also obviously gave birth to what is now known as the Jamaica Constabulary Force. It was because the government at the time, or those who had stewardship of Jamaica at the time, they were taken by surprise. They had no idea that they had such a weak operation, to the point where they were almost totally defeated by, or suppressed, is what I wanted to say.
In other words, they have a very weak defense.
A very weak defense, yes.
Right. So they brought in the force to protect them, not to protect us.
Right.
To protect them.
Right.
All right, let us stay there. Next thing. I'm gonna make it short as possible. Next thing. I'm not as educated as you.
No, please don't use don't use those. You don't need those terms. You don't need those disclaimers. Speak your truth and speak it clearly. You don't want to, what you do is to undermine the rest of your presentation when you put out those disclaimers. Just speak your truth and speak it clearly. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so let me take back that one then. This name that came up sometime, referendum, what it mean?
It's essentially, to put it in simple terms, it's a vote. It's a decision that is dependent on a vote, essentially, to ensure that from that point onwards we're going to the left or we're going to the right. The referendum helps us to decide whether we're going to the left or we're going to the right, or we're going to cut stay on crooked and cut straight.
Okay. I was listening to the news. I think it was sometime in February where some people from England, some diplomat, they left and they went to, I think, one of those small countries in the Caribbean there, and they pay back some money. They said that was owed to them from slave. That, when they used to slave those people, I think they said they paid back some money. And after them times, I heard many Jamaican, even like this, Ras Blacks or Raskafa, one of them was saying that England should pay back Jamaica some money, slaving us for so long. And as I said, at the news, it came out, it was on the news, but I remember it's one of the small Caribbean country that England already clear up that whole time slavery trade debt. They clear it up.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, hold on a moment, please. One moment.
Okay.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now
350. You are an exporter, helping to elevate the face of our international trade. But in order to do that, and all the other tasks on your list, you need someone that understands you. We know that finding adequate collateral as a SME can sometimes be challenging, which is why we partnered with our friends at JMB to bring you the Exim Expert Guarantee to give you that extra collateral support where you may need it. Call Exim Bank to find out more about the Exim Export Guarantee. Exim Bank. By helping businesses, we save lives and livelihood.
Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yeah, as I was saying, the English came to the Caribbean and they paid back some money to one of these small islands that they were slaving.
Or was it the one about a family? Is it the one where a family? I don't remember the name of the family now, but that they decided to pay restitution. I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but I was reading something to that effect within the last week or more.
I think it was
Anyway, tell us what you heard. Go ahead. Go ahead and tell us what you heard.
I think it was the entire country, because they came and they apologized to the country.
That's why
You
I'm
know what that
saying
happened
I'm
back in
wondering if
history.
it was the family, a particular wealthy family that benefited from slavery that did that. I think the name starts with the
Oh,
letter T. So I'm just
something like
wondering.
that. Yeah, something right.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So I was wondering if Jamaica is next in line for restitution so they can pay us up.
Well, I don't know. Mhm.
You don't know.
Mhm.
All right. One last thing. What is the age of retirement in Jamaica? Is it 65 or 70? Because I'm hearing two story.
No, it's definitely not
What is
70,
it?
as far as I'm aware.
Well, it couldn't
It's
be this. So it must be
it's
65 then.
60. It's supposed to be. I don't know if it has changed, but it's supposed to be 60 for women and 65 for men.
I believe the government should drop it right now. To return reach on Mr. Malcolm, thing is very hard. I am 61. I will be 62 coming October. I'll be 62. And believe me, Mr. Malcolm, I'm having it rough sometimes because I have mortgage to pay now. I get my little house from NHT in 2014, and I lost my job in 2020 when the pandemic hit Jamaica. I lost my job, and from that time until now, I've been having it very hard. No, at my age, I know the employment rate is low for me at 61, and NHT they keep calling me, and they're on my back. No, I work with a company for a couple of years, and they gave me a little redundant money. They didn't give me all at one. They gave me like what we would call it piece. So as I get it, I have to go straight to NHT. As I get a little portion, I have to go straight to NHT. And we still owe them some money, but they keep calling me. Now what I believe, this 65, 65, I think 65 is too real. I think they could put it and say 60 for men, right? 60 for men and say 55 the woman. Because when a person has to wait until him 65, you know many Jamaican work and pay NS and then dead. Like my father and my mother, they work. My mother was saying work like a slave and they pay a lot and then they don't gone and get no benefit. So when they put that 65, I think that was waiting on people to work and pay them something and then they live it and it just rest this. I think they should lower it to 60.
Well, if that were the thought of some people, then my late mother would say, when you're digging a ditch, dig two, because if you're hoping that others will die so that it will come to your benefit, surely you are playing with fire.
I was just saying that they should lower it and move it from 65 to at least 60. So when a person reaches 60, so when they can start to get back little benefit from NIS and whatever, just say it leaking about even if you buy chicken back Mr. Malcolm and shower. Yeah, somebody put that enough people there before 65. Many. Anyway, I won't pull up any more time.
Well,
Give
thank
somebody
you.
else a chance.
Thank you very much for your input. All the best.
Yeah, cool, thanks.
All right, take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Cleaners website, go-jamaica.com, 876-922-4112 the numbers to call. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I. Because they are here talk about crowdland we belong to. We never know to Jamaica and food nothing to black people. After King Charles III.
We're going to send you to the back of the class because you haven't been paying attention. It's it's one thing to listen, it's another thing to hear and what you hear. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I never know to Jamaica King Charles III and not the black people who come here in the 15th, 16th century.
Now you must be the only Christopher Columbus who didn't know that.
Yes, yes. Did you have a black Christopher Columbus?
What? Why you don't listen? I didn't say anything like that.
Ask that question.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Repeat your sentence, your black people.
Oh, I can't remember what I said. Sometimes my brain works faster than my mouth and vice versa. So.
All right, leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You could continue, proceed in our reason. So I want to say, eventually, Jamaica is not for us, you know? Because we don't come here in a slavery, you know? A slave place, we then call it master. The argument here and the topic of the year, for matter. Tell me something. The finance minister who served in a charge government in a Jamaica, it was a black person in called matter. The people did I hear the whole argument?
You're asking me to speculate. I don't know.
Put it out there to our brothers and sisters. So, but he said it's a black person. Nigel Carl Master. He put it across no argument in the country. Like we are here over the media.
Well, context is important. Who knows? Depending on the context, anything is possible.
So I not there. So why them call Mark Holding Matter? Because he is not a black person or from the African nation. That's why he could have feel away. Or people who are calling I say a racism. You know see? When you look for the food and check out what go on. Because if he was a black person, you wouldn't hear an argument. But he is from a next nation. You know? That's why it's a
who is from a next nation?
Mark Golding.
Mark Golding is a Jamaican.
That's a nationalism, man.
Mark Golding is a Jamaican. Have you checked it? Have you checked his passport?
Mark Golding.
He's a Jamaican.
Mark Golding is a Jamaican. That's your opinion, right? Hear what I say now. Yes, Mark Golding is a Jamaican, and the finance minister is also a Jamaican too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if him say, Master, what's wrong with that? Because the two are Jamaican and you too. If him call Mark Golding as a Jamaican master, where the argument for? Because two are Jamaican, you know African, you know want to be a American, but you know want to be African in this judgment, you know? So where the argument for? So the Honorable Finance Minister, they must serve master government. Time of the Finance Minister, the master government, a constitutional monarchy system of government, King Charles III, the white men government, you know, or even Mark Golding, we might call matter, a Mark Golding government, you know, and the Mongol serve. So Mark Golding walk out of parliament for. In a proud, I'm origin, making walk out, I'm not a true leader. That is a true leader, you that stand up, you do run.
Well, he will tell you, he perhaps could argue, that it's because...
Don't talk again.
No, but you are, no, it's both sides of the story. So you have put forward one argument, and I'm suggesting to you that it could also be something else.
Anyway, it's time to really stand as a black nation, you know, stand up on our feet, you know, as a black sovereign nation in the world, you know, because what is our status as a nation of people in the world today? You look away, you know, what is our status from Europe scandal to Africa, slavery, colonization, and the state where we find ourselves in and now have been ruled by a constitutional monarchy system of government. The same people them were enslaved. What is our status? That them destroy us. The mass of our kingdom, the black man kingdom, you know, the black continent and the black nation.
So and what are we going to do? Ball forever? Or are we going to do something about
So
it?
calling up on all our brothers, man, cannot until all Africans stand and speak as free beings equal in the eyes of the Almighty. Demand our rights, because the black man and the black woman have a right. We never enslave no one, and rob no one, and burn no one, and beat and leave. We never do no nation that, and them do with that, you know? So we are reaching to the stars, you know, of equality and justice, our black justice that is in
Who,
future for us.
who do you expect to plead your cause?
We are here pleading our black cause, you know?
Mm.
We are here, I am here pleading our black cause and my black, behalf of my black self and my black nation, father and mother, brothers and sisters, you know? So, if you see the cause Marcus Garvey and all the prophets who come before us with a plea, you know, a black government, and a proud black independent government, world government, your black nation of people, you know?
But
So,
we,
instead of there a big up matter government, you know, a system where designed to enslave us as black people in the world, we return to a kingdom of our own, you know?
but it's not going to happen if all we do is sit on our hands and talk. It needs more than that.
Listen now, listen now. Look on the honorable prophet Marcus Messiah Garvey. I went with you. The word sound and power educating one another. Remind us of
No, but he didn't leave it there. He acted as well. He acted. He took action.
and he's still no acting because the word that I speak is not of myself, but he will teach us in this way, in this judgment. So in his time,
So what's the latest action that you are taking? What action are you taking?
I am not nothing more than where my father, the Messiah,
No.
today.
What action are you taking?
I'm taking action, you
Mm.
know, to demand our rights, a freedom, redemption, international repatriation, our rights.
How are you doing that? How?
You know, you're not doing no. And I'm
You mean calling the talk show and saying the same thing over and over and over again?
how powerful is the media? You know how powerful is the media? Especially when town has spread propaganda in the judgment. You know?
But you don't have a problem when you are the one who is allowed to spread propaganda. You are the only one who must spread propaganda, right?
So going
So it's okay when the media give you an opportunity to speak and you spread your propaganda.
at the
No,
media gives
sir.
us the opportunity to
So
speak out.
what you spread is not propaganda.
Who give us the right to
No,
speak?
what you spread is not propaganda.
No, because we couldn't spread propaganda against the black self when we talk about our black affair and our black kingdom. So if you're not a black person, you have to look on yourself and spread the propaganda because man could not talk about in black self and in black nation, the upliftment of our black nation. You
Yeah.
know? And we
All
need
right.
to
All right. We have to leave it there. We have a feature coming up. Thanks for the call. Take care.
help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30. You know what I call it, yeah. Hey, me count, you count, census say all of it count, hey, you count, me count, census say all of it count, hey, information needed to develop the community then. Scouts them out and I get the reports so don't bother hide when you see them. Data collection for the census continues. Cooperate with the census takers as they complete this important national exercise. Access Financial Services is granting you quick and easy access to loans with a few clicks from your phone. Say hello to convenience and goodbye to long lines. With the new My Access mobile app, you can apply for loans, check loan balances, schedule appointments, and the best part, make payments towards your loan directly from your phone. What are you waiting for? Download the My Access app today. Visit accessfinanceonline.com for more information. Experience the power of easy access with the new My Access mobile app. Your health is key to your wealth. Suffering from muscle, joint, neck, back, and other pain? The Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, in association with Winchester MRI, Immune Active Deck and Almighty Studios present Rehabilitation Now, a 30-minute feature on physical medicine and rehabilitation for persons overcoming pain or dysfunction from injury or disease that affects muscles, tendons, nerves, and joints. Rehabilitation Now with rehabilitation physician Dr. Paula Dawson and host Alicia Taylor airs every Friday at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106. Free your body from aches and pain with Rehabilitation Now, right here on Power 106 FM. Welcome to your Legal Corner on Power 106 FM, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Time now for your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM.
Indeed, it's a Thursday afternoon, just after 3:30, and that means time for your Legal Corner with U.S. immigration attorney Delia Walker Huntington. Here's your opportunity to have your questions answered. Anything at all to do with U.S. immigration matters, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for your Legal Corner, 876-279-8598. 876-279-8598. Let's say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Attorney at Law Delia Walker Huntington. How are you?
Wonderful, Dervan. How are you doing today?
I am fine, thanks. Thank you so much for joining us as usual. And while we await queries from our listeners to questions that they have, we wanted to get in a word, first of all, with respect to the affidavit of support and upcoming U.S. tax filing, that deadline.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yes. So April 15th each year is the deadline for U.S. persons to file their federal tax returns. Now, some states have state income taxes, but the United States federal tax returns are due on April 15th. Um, when you're filing your tax returns, you are able to claim dependents. And the more dependents you have, is the less tax you pay. I'm talking average person. I'm not talking the 1% who pay little or nothing for taxes. I'm talking people like you and I. So what you find happens, Dervan, is that some people try to maximize the number of dependents that they have. And to qualify as a dependent, a person is supposed to reside with you for a certain period of time. I don't know that time. You need to talk to an accountant about that. But what happens is that some of our people will claim five dependents who are not necessarily living with them, but they claim five people so that their taxes, their obligation is reduced. That becomes a negative for you in the immigration context. Now, it might be against the law as well if you are claiming people who are not truly your dependents, but that's between you and the IRS. But when it comes to immigration implications, when you file for someone, you have to do an affidavit of support to show the U.S. government that the person, the intending immigrant, will not become a public charge on the U.S. government, meaning that you, the sponsor, are taking responsibility not only to bring the person here, but that you are going to be financially responsible for them. If they're unable to work, you're financially responsible or unwilling. Let me just put that part in there because we've seen so many of those instances. But you are responsible for a person for whom you sign an affidavit of support for 10 years or until they become a U.S. citizen, whichever is faster. What that does when you go and you claim five dependents on your taxes now, you are going to also have to claim those five dependents when you are filing for your family member to come and join you. So if you're claiming five dependents plus yourself makes six, and you're filing for your brother or your adult daughter or your spouse, then now the family becomes seven. And the greater the number, the family number, is the more money you need to make in order to qualify to do an affidavit of support. So it has a negative impact on you because it now forces you to have to show more income to the US government in the immigration context, and you may not make that much money as required to show that you can support a family of seven. So then you bounced out of it and you now have to get a joint sponsor. And it's not always easy to get somebody else who's not the petitioner to agree to be the joint sponsor in a case, because that joint sponsor puts themselves also on the hook to support the intending immigrant for 10 years or until they become a citizen, whichever is sooner. So it's just a word of warning at this time of the year, particularly, that you should really seek the services of a professional, because there are a lot of places around every city or town in America that says they do tax preparation, and they're not necessarily qualified to do so, meaning that they're CPA, or they have the necessary training in order to do the tax filing. But they'll put up a sign and they'll have a storefront. Some of them are only around until tax season, and after tax season they close down and you can't find anybody. So be very careful who you choose to produce your federal tax returns every year, especially when it comes to the immigration context of the filing.
Thank you very much. So be on the lookout for itinerant, uh, itinerant tax aids. Mm.
Yeah, let's call it pop-up shops. This is a new trend for the last few years, where let's say you 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 make perfumes. You
Mm.
pop up on a corner and you sell your perfume for a week or two, and then you're gone again. These tax places pop up literally
Mhm.
for tax season, and then they
They
disappear. So
disappear.
just be careful. Yeah,
Yes.
just be careful.
Sound advice. Thank you very much. Let's clear some of these messages now. Listeners, if you're just tuning in, the program is Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. Here's your opportunity to get in your calls and your messages. The numbers to call: 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. And there's the text line, which is the same as the WhatsApp number: 876-279-8598. 876-279-8598. Here's a message from, well, it says, "Good afternoon, Mrs. Huntington. I wrote 2 weeks ago. I was unable to listen. I'm not sure if my message was read last week. I have been filed for by my daughter. I did submit a police certificate October 2021. I now get correspondence saying I am to expect to do an interview with the embassy in Kingston. What I want to know is if I will have to do another police certificate, or will they accept the one from 2021? Should I call the embassy to get clarification? Thank you."
Yeah, I would think you would need another one, because I don't remember how long it's valid for, but it used to be valid for 12 months, then they extended it to 15 because of the delays from the pandemic. But really, the purpose of the police certificate is to show the embassy, to as close as possible to your date when your appointment is scheduled is that you have not had any encounters with law enforcement since the last one. So she had one in October, or he had one in October 2021. We're now in March of 2023. May not get an appointment till May or so. You're cutting it very close to 2 years. So if you can get through to the embassy, confirm, and if I find out how long the certificates are valid for, next show I will try to remember to find out and say it on air. But be prepared to do another police certificate for the very reason that they want to ensure that between October 21st and now that there has been no encounter with law enforcement. There are no charges.
Right. No negative encounter.
No negative encounters. Yes, indeed.
All right. Here's another one for you, Miss Delia. I'm a U.S. citizen living in the U.S. All right. Yes, a U.S. citizen living in the U.S. I have a 12-year-old daughter in Jamaica. If I filed for her now, if I filed for her now, if I filed for her, how long will it take? And would she automatically become a U.S. citizen?
Okay, so lots of layers to this question. So, a U.S. citizen filing for a minor child, that's an immediate relative. It should take about a year, but because of the pandemic, it's taken longer. Even if the paperwork is completed within a year, we're still seeing a backlog for interviews at the embassy in Kingston. They're working through it. They're getting through. Some people have been waiting for a while, but it might take a little longer. Before I get to the last part of the question, if this child was born when the petitioner was, I'm assuming it's the father, when the father was an American citizen, the child could derive citizenship from the father under certain circumstances. The child born outside of the country could be recorded as a foreign birth and derive citizenship at that point. Assuming the child, the parent became a citizen after the child was born, then the parent will have to go through the process of filing for the green card. And once the child comes to America, if the child is under 18 and living with that petitioning parent, then the child can become a U.S. citizen. So it's automatic, but it's not. Because if the child comes to America, let's say the father filed for the child comes to America, but the child doesn't live with the father, the child goes and lives with an aunt or grandmother, the child is not entitled to citizenship. You have to live with the parent from whom you derive your green card. And there are a couple ways of doing it. I recommend both ways. The child can get a U.S. passport, and also the parent can file for a certificate of citizenship. But both of those are going to require evidence that the child is in fact living with the U.S. citizen parent. So that's an important distinction.
Let's come back with more of your questions for U.S. U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington after the break.
For any project, ABC Electrical Sales has all your electrical supplies at the best prices. 8 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 7543714. The time by ABC Electrical Sales is
3:45.
I'm Nigel Clark, the Minister of Finance and the Public Service. We want a public service that is fair, that values people, and delivers high quality services. Jamaica competes in a global environment, and for us to remain competitive, the public service needs to be in a position to deliver services effectively, efficiently, and in good time.
Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
both sides of the story. Do you have a title for your land? Are you thinking about buying or selling land? How much is your property worth? Tune in to Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for the NLA and You, a program that examines the National Land Agency's role in building an efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's the NLA and you on both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency, one goal, committed to serve you better. You're listening to Your Legal Corner, your source of information on all matters regarding U.S. immigration. You can call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Now, back to Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM.
Thank you very much for staying with us on today's edition, this week's edition of Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. And we welcome your calls, 876-922-4112 to 5. That's 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number for Your Legal Corner, 876 279 8598 876 279 8598. Let's go to a caller. Let's clear these messages first. Hold on. So here's another message for you, Miss Dahlia. It says, good afternoon, Miss Dahlia. I was in the USA last year and returned to the island in June. How soon can I go back to the USA?
Well, I don't. It sounds to me like the person was in the U.S. for an extended period of time. Because if you just go on vacation and you come back last year June, we're in March. There's nothing to stop you from going again. Um, we run into these problems where my fellow Jamaicans get a visa, come to the United States, spend 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, right up to the 6 month limit, and they're quick to tell me, oh, but I didn't overstay. But they spend an extended period in the US. They do it one time, two times, three times, repeatedly, and then worry about when they want to come back because they know within themselves that they are spending too much time in America, where an officer, an immigration officer, will look at you and sometimes ask, where do you live? Because you spend 3 months in America, you go home for 6, you come back for 3, you go home for 2, you come back for 4. So the question then becomes, where are you, how much time are you spending at home, and what are you doing in America for these extended periods? The presumption that the officer then leads to is that if you are in America for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months at a time, that you must be working because no one in America, unless they're independently wealthy, can afford to spend so much time not working. And remember, when you're applying for the visa, you're also telling them where you're employed. So it becomes a grave issue. And I can't tell the author of this message when is a safe time to come back to America because I don't know how long they were here before. Again, if you were here for a brief vacation for 3-4 weeks and you went home, there's nothing to prevent you from coming back or having come back, say, even for Christmas or Thanksgiving last year. But if in fact you have been spending extended periods of time in the US, I can't project how an officer will view that when you try to make your return visit to the United States.
All right. Thank you, Miss Dahlia. Here's another one. Hi, Miss Dahlia. Can you update me on the F4 category, please? Waiting on an interview. Priority date, June 14, 2007.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this number, I don't have all of my visa bulletins with me, but they're still on March 22nd of 2007 come April. And I know that they've been on that date since at least January. So it has not moved. And this person is also close because they're June 14, 2007. And the category
has not moved from March 22nd of '07. Just has not moved.
Listeners, if you're just tuning in, this is Your Legal Corner. It's a special feature focused on answering your U.S. immigration questions, any questions at all to do with U.S. immigration. This is the place, this is the time. Here are the numbers to call: 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 279 8598. 876 279 8598. And there is, I'm sure there was another just now. Where did it go? Oh, we'll come back to that. So here we go. So this one says, good afternoon. I just got married to a U.S. citizen in Jamaica. She's now retired and is receiving Social Security income of just under $3,000 monthly, which is her only source of income at this time. Her expenses take up in excess of 75% of that amount. She wants to file for me now. How will her situation impact her affidavit of support? I am in a stable job in Jamaica and own a mortgage-free property. Please advise. She has no other dependents.
Okay, so the expenses don't come into the affidavit of support. What they look at is the income. So if this person has, let's say, $3,000 a month, that's $36,000 a year. For that is enough to qualify for an affidavit of support for two people, because they're going to count the wife and they're going to count the husband, the intending immigrant. So we have a family of two. And again, if she does not, if the wife, for whatever reason, doesn't meet the threshold, you can always use a joint sponsor, which can be anybody, a green card holder or a citizen in any state, does not have to be related to you in this context, in order to qualify. But they should qualify, but not until we see all of the information. Can I be certain? But just based on the basic premise, a family of two, the requirements under the poverty guidelines is under 36,000.
All right, listeners, those just tuning in, thank you very much. And those who have been listening, good to have you on board for this week's edition of Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. Here's a reminder that the numbers to call are 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, so you can send your text messages and your WhatsApp messages to 876 279 8598. 876 279 8598. Miss Dahlia, can you say a little more in terms of that 36, what's it, 36,000 or 3,006?
Well, it's $3,000 a month is the income from Social Security. Mm-hmm. And so times 12, that's 36 for the year. Mm-hmm. So 36,000 US. So there's a poverty guidelines, the I-864A, I believe, that you go to, and it tells you how much the US government is expecting a family of two, the income for a family of 2, 3 on down. And so if they go there, USCIS.gov, go to forms, go to I-864A, you will find what the poverty guidelines, which is going to go up after April 15th. It goes up every year after the tax filing period has come to an end. But safe to say that it's not 36,000. So if wife's income is 36,000 for the year, she should be okay to do the affidavit of support when the time comes.
I see. And
Yes.
oh, sorry, I thought there was another. All right, so let's remind you, listeners, 876-922-4112 to 5. Those are the numbers to call, 876-922-4112 to 5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-279-8598. 876-279-8598. It's also tax time here in Jamaica. For those who perhaps are at sea when it comes on, if assuming they would have missed all that you said at the outset, uh, is how do I know that I'm supposed to pay tax both in the US and Jamaica? For example, if I straddle both the US and Jamaica.
Then you need to contact an accountant. That is not my area
Okay.
at all. But and I've had Larry Mullings on my program before.
Oh,
Larry
yes,
Mullings
Larry Mullings. I
he's
remember.
a he's a CPA in the States and a chartered accountant in Jamaica. I will try to see if I can get him on for a few minutes between now and tax time, and he can answer that question for you as to who needs to file US taxes. But generally speaking, if you're a green card holder and a US citizen, you need to file your US taxes based on your worldwide income. So but Mr. Mullins can beyond that, Mr. Mullins will have to clarify.
Quite understandable. Um,
Yes.
and I take it that the business of filing taxes in the US, based on your experience, pretty seamless, or is it?
Oh no, it is not. If you are employed and you get what's called a W-2, so in the States, when you are an employee, your employer deducts taxes from you, and by the end of January, the employer is supposed to give you a document called a W-2, which summarizes your income for the year. If that's all you have, you're a W 2 employee, then some people do their own taxes. And there are
Platforms.
online companies that
Okay.
you can do your tax returns through, or you go into to one of these companies, and the name escapes me right now. There are a couple of them, about three or so, and you can go in and they'll prepare your taxes for you, and they take responsibility for preparing the taxes for you. So that's one of the big things. It's not a pop-up shop that you go in and John Brown prepares the taxes. Come April 16th, the door is closed and you can't find John Brown after. If you go to one of these franchises, they take responsibility for the tax return that they have prepared.
Okay.
And you can do that, but a lot of people have more complicated tax returns. If you're a business owner, if you have not had any taxes taken out of your income, you might be an independent contractor. So you get paid. Let's say you contract with the boss that you're going to be paid 500 US a week. That's what you get. The employer doesn't take any tax out of it, then you have a responsibility now to file and to pay your taxes. But a lot of people in America get a refund on their taxes because it's based on how much you tell the employer to deduct. So some people will choose to have less deducted, and then they pay or they balance out, or they'll have more deducted and then they get a refund from the government. So it's not cut and dry by any means.
We hear you
And
loud
I
and clear.
reiterate, it's not my area of expertise at all, at all, at all. Don't
Understood.
venture
So
far.
that would make it more taxing for you. Anyway, thank you.
No pun intended.
All the best.
Yes,
And
no
oh,
pun
and how
intended.
can people connect with you if they need to? Your services of your law firm.
Sure. To reach me in the US, it's 954-963-8555 for a consultation. 954-963-8555. We practice immigration anywhere in the US and in Jamaica. It's 876-969-9666. 876-969-9666. Thanks, Dervan,
Thank you
as
too.
always, and we'll chat next week.
Definitely. Looking forward to that. Take care.
You've just listened to Your Legal Corner, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Join us next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM. At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4:02 on Power 106.
The College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE, continues to play its part in revolutionizing Jamaica's productive and education sectors for the demands of the 21st century. Learn more about CASE's philosophy, programs, and services in a special feature during Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie every second Monday at 6:18 a.m. on Power 106 FM. This feature is brought to you by the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE, Castley Gardens, Portland. That's a special feature showcasing the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE, every second Monday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
Sound of the spitting of the bell is just too good to ignore. You say, hey my man, that's your brother on the street. You say, hey my man, every time we meet. Hey dear brother, equal man, hey dear sister, shake your hand, it's a brand new day. And we can say it anyway, but what we really want to see. Love, 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 love. Hey, brother, equal man. Hey, sister, shake your hand. It's a brand new day. But what we really want to see is love, love.
Que ahora es en español. Son las 4:04. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:04. 现在几点了？4:04 分. 4 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us as well on WhatsApp. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's see if we can clear our backlog of messages. Velta Wilson is in St. Thomas. She says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Have a blessed day. Same to you too. Let's see. Natalie Winter says, great afternoon all. Pleasant viewing from Washington Gardens. Enjoying the discourse on radio. Enjoy the rest of your day. Same to you. Thank you very much for your message, Velta Wilson. Natalie Winter. Velta Wilson says, hey, Bernadette. Joan Edgehill, who is associated with the American Association of Central Florida, is online as well. Joan Edgehill says, hello, Mr. Dervan. Greetings from Joan. Greetings to you too, Joan. Paul Miles of the eponymous Paul Miles Foundation says, good day, Dervan and all listeners. To you too, Paul Miles. And he goes on to say, Dervan, I received another video from a school in Jamaica yesterday. I could not believe the condition of the classroom, desks, and chairs in some of these rural schools. old, rotten, and requires immediate replacement. Would it be more beneficial to try to address these education issues instead of fighting in Parliament? It goes without saying, Paul Miles. It goes without saying. Thank you very much for your contribution, literally and figuratively, to education in Jamaica. Well done. He says, Dervan, we can do better than this. Indeed, we can, and we should. Let's do it. Marcia Rodney says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. To you too, Marcia Rodney. Jeannie Chambers says, good afternoon, teacher. Today is my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter, Jeannie Chambers. All the best. Lorna Shelton Beck in Charleston, South Carolina says, greetings, Dervan. Just getting back home a few minutes ago. And she was having some audio issues as well. She says it got better. Renee Beckley, who is not Jamaican, but just loves Jamaica. She's from, is it Pontiac? I think Pontiac, Michigan. That's where the car got its name. That's how they do it in Detroit. Well, in Michigan. So she is, but she's a big fan of Jamaica, and she listens to us as often as she can. And she's sharing with us one of those tax preparers details, H&R Block USA Tax Preparer Company. And she says, yes, refund is like a national holiday in the Black community. And that's further to what Dahlia Walker Huntington said earlier on. Thank you very much for your messages on Facebook. Renee Beckley says, yes, refund is like a national holiday in the Black community. And over on YouTube, let's see what's happening here on YouTube. Karen Rowe says, hello, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. To you too, Karen Rowe. Just tuning in, she says. Dwight Spence says, bless up to all joining. Carter George says, please tell your neighbor about the program. Do it now. Thanks. Bishop Paul Mays says, good afternoon. For the IR1 category DQ in February 2023, about how long do you expect? Oh, I'm sorry we didn't get this message earlier on, or we didn't get around to reading this message earlier on. Sorry about that, Bishop Mays. Let's see if we can find a way to get it to Miss Dahlia, and if she's able to respond to your question. If you don't get some kind of a reply between now and say first thing in the morning, then we'll do our best to fix that. Thank you very much for your messages. Keep them coming. Let's look at WhatsApp right now and see what's up. H. Morgan in Birmingham says, good afternoon, Dervan. I read the Gleaner and the Observer, or I read the Gleaner and the Observer every day, and it's heart-rendering you have here. Okay, it's heart-rendering to read about the senseless number of murders taking place in a beautiful island like Jamaica. A lot of people keep saying that crime is everywhere, but Jamaica is my homeland, so my first priority is Jamaica. Instead of beating up themselves about getting rid of Queen, King, and becoming a republic, they need to fix the problem of crime and violence first, thus get the country in a reasonable state where people can have a reasonably peaceful life. Look at the recent killing on Mayfield Avenue. A 19-year-old male just came in from work with his cousin. Both did not even get the chance to get home. Both were gunned down. The 19-year-old died. What could he have done for them to pump 12 shots into his body? One is left to wonder. Will this senseless killing end? Good question. H. Morgan in Birmingham. He says, it's great you are there to bring some positive insight. Well, we don't set out to do that, but just to play our part in the dissemination of truthful information. Miss June in Norway is checking in online, and she has a picture. She has shared with us a picture of her, I would imagine her grandchildren, who seem to be much, much, much bigger than she is, in a manner of speaking. Well, thank you for sharing, Miss June. She has shared with us also a voice note. And
My two sweet grandsons.
so she's confirming that the boys are her two sweet grandsons. So thank you for sharing, Miss June. All the best to you and your family. And this one says, I want to wish a happy holiday to you and your beautiful family. Ramadan Kareem, H&R Block. And another one, Howie, says, good afternoon, teacher. It is overcast, cool, windy here at class today. Can you name a few Caribbean countries that are republic but still have England as their final court of appeal? No, not off the top of my head. Not off the top of my head. I would have to pause what I'm doing now to pay attention to that, but we'll see what we can do. David Crossburn says, hello, Dervan. Greetings to you and all your listeners. Keep in mind that recently the Dutch pledged some amount of reparation payment to Suriname, and no mention was made of Jamaica. Jamaica should have a constitution consensus on the preparation and submission of a reparation demand note to Spain, England, Scotland, and Wales. Agreement should also be on a payment set at one generation, 30 years at US 20 cents. Uh, is that, hold on, let's see. Or 0.20 trillion per year. Let us know if we made a hash of your numbers here, David Crosburn. This one says, hi, Mr. Malcolm. I heard your caller reference shrinkflation. I notice we are not speaking about this, which is so evident when we purchase things nowadays. We notice the containers are smaller. The packets are both smaller and lighter or full of air, as in the snacks. The packs of crackers, biscuits have less crackers in them. Even the cooked meals we purchase have gotten smaller. Is that possible in Jamaica? I know we don't feel we're eating in Jamaica unless we have a mountain of food in front of us. And whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, there's a tendency to pack up the box or the container, whatever it is. So I don't know about that getting less. I don't know about that one based on what I have seen and experienced. We're hand heavy when it come on to serving food. Our hands are very heavy. One moment, please.
Shake your hand, it's a brand new day. You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15. Join Althea Mackenzie during Farm Talk every second Tuesday of each month at 6:18 a.m. for a special feature that provides useful information
Of course.
on the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JAGRA, and the role they play in Jamaica's agricultural sector. This feature is brought to you by
No, man,
the
it's
Jamaica Agricultural
it's like we don't feel we're eating unless we have. Yeah, until it's spilling.
every second Tuesday at 6:18 a.m. during
Que ahora es en español. Son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4h16. 现在 TDN 了 CDN 是了分 16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you more employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon, Ricardo. We see your message. Thank you very much. And all the very best to you. Keep the messages coming in. Right, so we're saying about shrinking. Yeah, you're not going to find places where we eat, restaurants or from the corner shops, etc. I'm sorry, you have to show me that for me to believe it. Shrinking lunch and shrinking breakfast. I've never seen that yet in Jamaica, and I'm yet to see that even in these times. But that's something we usually don't compromise on when it comes on to food. We don't feel as if we're eating unless we have a mountain in front of us. So we need to do something about that as well too. Right, but so it is. And the rest of the message, even yeah, the person had said even the cooked meals we purchase have gotten smaller. I have to see that first, and it has to be a trend. I have to see a trend to come to any conclusion that that is happening based on my experience in Jamaica, land we love. Anyway, and the list goes on. The message says, but at the same time, the price for our purchases have soared. I feel as if I'm being ripped off. Even the boxed meals have gotten smaller. No, they haven't. You have to line up some people at lunchtime and ask them to bring their current what they currently get when they purchase lunch and show me each of those, and I guarantee you that they will be full and running over, as the song says. Anyway, and look at the size of the chicken they now serve in them. This person says, would you kindly discuss this new shrinkflation phenomenon for the benefit of your listeners who are not yet aware of it? Thank you so much. But on a serious note, if there is any doubt as to whether consumers are still getting value for money, in other words, getting what they pay for, you have entities like the Bureau of Standards Jamaica that has the technical expertise to check these things, to check. I mean, they're accustomed to checking scales, for example. They check the pumps at our service stations. I'm not sure of the frequency, but they're supposed to do periodic checks to make sure that these measuring devices are functioning and indeed functional. So I would humbly suggest that we take this matter to, if we're really serious about it, to the Consumer Affairs Commission. The Consumer Affairs Commission can then enlist the support of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica in instances where measurements and other weight considerations need to be taken into account. So that's what I would suggest on a serious note. And also, maybe we need to find out from Dulcie Allen, Ms. Dulcie Allen of the Consumer Affairs Commission, or she might very well appoint Dorothy, what's her surname again? Sorry, too many things thinking about. But to have the Consumer Affairs Commission resume, I don't know that they have stopped, but I haven't seen one in a little while. That they, if it is that they have stopped, that they resume. If it is that they have been doing it or continuing that work, then let us bring it to the table and highlight it and go through the paper on that particular day and share with our listeners where they can get the best price on cornmeal versus flour versus mackerel, saltfish, etc. And we'll be more than happy on this program to share the information with you, our faithful listeners at home and abroad. So if we can get that certified data from the Consumer Affairs Commission, so that's one way where we can play our part by directing you to where things are and where the price is right. To borrow the line from that TV show, The Price is Right. All right, let's continue. And oh, that message from Angie. Thank you, Angie. Still waiting on you. When you buy your lunch, carrot and show us. Don't trouble it. Make sure we get it here sealed, and we will check it to see if your lunch is shrinking in terms of quantity. And a couple more messages here. Waiting that. We'll have to save those for Miss Dahlia. And going up the line, this one, Arlene says, yes, Dervan, they have reduced the size. Take a good look next time you shop. All right, we will take a good look. We will, whenever I go to another eatery going forward, I will be on the lookout, and I will take pictures as well. I will be taking pictures. So prepare yourself for that, Arlene. Maybe you can send us to your cook shop or the cook shop that you usually patronize. Miss Pearl says, Sir D, you're the greatest PH. Oh, please, no, stop. What have I done to deserve that? Miss Pearl, you're too kind. Greatest PH. I hardly have a BA. I'm kidding. I have a BA, but that's it. I haven't gone beyond a BA. Bachelor of Arts. Anyway, she says, I'll just read her message, and you know, if it gets too much for me to read with all those niceties, Miss Pearl, I'm going to jump over it and go straight to the end. Anyway, she says, educator coming straight from the Harvard or Yale or grassroots at a place close to where I am from in a little district named Glen Burnie. They call up there Woodland. Wood, no one lived there, but my dad used to farm up there, and me as a young girl used to take my dad's lunch there. Yes, sir. Jamaica needs you. I hope they are listening. People who are leaders need to listen and do better. Sir D is long time. Please be good. God bless you, my professor, she says. You're very kind. And then she sends a rejoinder. She says, Sir D, I went to a funeral at the university, UWI chapel. I was passing a building up there. I said to the taximan, oh my God, what kind of building is that so dirty and dilapidated? It it look abundant. That's a new one for me. He said, no, it's the post office. No, sir, Sir D, nobody from the government do not see it needs painting. Oh, I don't know the post office. You a post office? I don't think I've ever been there. And I did attend the University of the West Indies. Another message coming through. The boxes are full, but the boxes are smaller, says David. Is it David? No, it's not David's message. David called us on WhatsApp, and we'll take that call in a moment. Right, the boxes are full, but the boxes are smaller. Well, let me see. I think you might. Let me see. I saw some containers I had reason to be in one of those outlets, and I saw some containers, and looks like they have variations in the size. I don't know if that is necessarily new, but I did see that. Now that you mention the box is being smaller, you might be onto something there. Yeah, but we still want some more evidence. Well, not necessarily anecdotal, but hopefully a little more scientific than anecdotal. This one says, Dervan, this is a serious thing. Check the supermarket purchases. Went to a function a few months ago, and one of the speakers' topic was, in fact, on shrinkflation. Heard another talk show host discuss the same topic some months ago. It is real. No, it's not that I haven't heard it before. I was just making, or not that I am not aware of what is meant by shrinkflation, but I was just emphasizing the business of the quantities in which we take our food in terms of whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We usually don't feel we're eating on it. That's just what I was taking off from. But I also made the serious point of the if enough Jamaicans feel this way, or the more Jamaicans feel this way, the more the Consumer Affairs Commission will have to be called into action so that we are able to identify those who are just jacking up the prices so that they can earn more, they can scrape in more, as opposed to those who are being reasonable in their pricing policy. Right. Let's go to David Crosburn now on our text line, same as the WhatsApp number. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, Mr. Crosburn, are you there? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and your listeners. Just some clarification on the note I sent you. Why I'm motivated to really keep the reparation issue. I think I was born for this purpose. All my life I've spent gathering the information, on it. And I'm so happy that I'm alive and can at least put something in perspective. Right.
Well, very good. If that's what you see yourself doing, then so be it. If that is what your purpose is evolving to being, then by all means, go for it.
Yes. Recently, the United Nations International Court of Justice had a reparation symposium. Justice Robinson reported on the symposium. It's online. Listeners can look at it.
Sorry, hold a moment, please, Mr. Crosby. We need to take a break.
Yeah.
Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness. Your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-41125 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM.
Express it if you might, as the passing of the night and the coming of the light to a brand new dawn.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:29. ¿Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5h29. Hiện tại TDN là 5:10. 29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Patrick Needham says, please bless up Lisa and Donette. They are here listening to you. Well, good afternoon to Lisa and Donette. Thank you very much for tuning in to Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. Pleasure to have you on board. Hello to Orel Johnson as well. He says, just giving a shout out from Hartford, Connecticut. Thank you very much, Orel Johnson. Welcome from Hartford, Connecticut, as you say in America, as opposed to Connecticut. And let's see who else is. Well, let's go back to the phone lines and hear more from David Crosburn.
Yes, thanks again for the opportunity. I just tell some of your listeners that maybe what they could do is Google David Crosburn and look up some of my letters to the editor. Just let David Crosburn letters to the editor that are written on the subject. And also interview David Crosburn Agrobuzz with Doreen Samuels. This interview was done in 2016 with Doreen Samuels, and which I mentioned some of these reparation matters with her. It's online. Unfortunately, I did not know at the time that it would be online, or else I would put more in the preparation. It was really a sudden interview she did with me, Doreen Samuels. The late Doreen Samuels, rather. Right. So Justice Robinson, in his United Nations report, mentioned that the total reparation it would be about 106 trillion. But that Jamaica's portion should be at least 6 trillion. So I'm saying, keep in mind that we had over 1,062 sugar factories that operated in Jamaica. And we produced from this 162 sugar factories, 180,000 tons was produced under Spanish slavery. And just over 5.2 million tons was produced under British slavery, which was chattel slavery, which is far different from the Spanish slavery. So if you simply put the present labor cost per ton sugar for that 5.2 million tons of sugar at even 130 pounds per ton labor cost, labor for making the sugar, that would be a significant amount of money. Plus, Professor Orlando Patterson in his presentation for Rex Nickelford, he mentioned that the total amount of persons that was 6 million persons. Our population ought to have been 6 million during slavery. So then and there, the figure that died and they were responsible for is over 6 million. And if you should apply the cost per slave at 18 pounds per slave, and maybe we put in the present day value, the figure of 6 trillion is not far-fetched. So I'm saying as a country, we should bring the matter into our present, the present debate, with the constitutional debate. Let us agree on how the money is to be spent. And just my own putting forward is that it's best that we request or demand that we be paid 0.2 trillion over a 30-year period, and that would equivalent to the 6 trillion. And the 0.2 trillion, using the 0.2 trillion was 30 years. And we agree in the constitutional reform how must this 0.2 trillion be spent, and that we sign off on this as a country and agree going forward. Each and every Jamaican, at home and abroad, must be educated up to their best person that they can become. Only yesterday, Dervan, I was listening an interview from the College of Agriculture in Portland, and my heart pained me when I heard the principal said that 500 students is not in school. The population of the college was 1,500. It now stands at 1,000. 500 have not returned to school since
COVID-19. Yes.
Yeah, and Dervan, I'm closing now. At this time when we are focusing on agriculture, we can't afford for any dropout from school because of finances. We must find a way. I might use my personal example. My eldest daughter, she's a medical doctor in the US, and she actually lectures medical students as well. When I went to the student loan and they approved the loan, and at the end of her first year, they removed the loan. I cried. Tears dropped out my eyes. And I said to my wife, listen to me good and hear me well. We are going home and we're going to cook the shoes on her foot and eat this for the rest of the time. But she must go through UII. And quick time, by the time we turn around, my 4 daughters were there. 4 one time through the UII. And thanks be to God, Dervan, you would know the world of change that has brought with this 4. And like you repeatedly said, learn a second language. When the youngest one is Spanish as her second language, she was a top science student in Jamaica in 2003, and she did her first degree in biological technology at UII. And then she used the Spanish that she learned and was able to move through. And thanks be to God, she's now in charge of an institution. And I say this in closing. When she came and they were building the cement tower as the second thing there, and she was in charge of this communicating with the workforce, and between the workforce and the management in Spanish. My head was felt so good. But I'm saying, families, education is the key, and let us as a country don't look left, don't look right, but educate ourselves is the best thing to change our country. Everybody wants to see this Jamaica be the best it can. From the earliest of the earliest, everyone says Jamaica is pristine, and we need to focus and bring forth the best Jamaica that we can. And finally, I said finally, but finally, as he was mentioning about it was really a 6-year war between Spain and Spain and England. And one of the things of the war, Dervan, that most Americans don't look at, before the end of the war, Spain came here in 1655, so they fought until 1660. At the end of 1660, there was no Runaway Bay, but there was Discovery Bay. So Runaway Bay joined Discovery Bay at the end of in 1655 when they came, there was no Runaway Bay. But at the end of the war in 1660, and the Spanish governor ran away from Jamaica, then Runaway Bay came into place. And the earliest caller that called in was complaining about the pressures he's getting from the NHT. I just ask listeners to look on a letter that I've written to the NHT in 2018 and saying that to cut this out and stop pulling back people from their house. They put somebody out in Inzod, and it made me so angry. I wrote that letter and said, there is a way out. Do not put people on the street. And I just say to the listener that call you, read that letter and get a couple of persons with you and lobby for the NHT to change their ways and to find work and give the people. Everyone can get work and don't put anybody out from their house. That must not happen, because in some of the instances they short circuit the thing to let the people get into the home and then take them and put them on the street. It must not happen. It must not happen. And I just refer them to that letter that I wrote in 2018 and see the amount. Before 2018, could be about 2017. It's on Google. NHT abomination must stop. And thank you and keep up the wonderful work.
Thank you. Thank you for the call.
Applaud you. Yeah. Thanks a lot, and God be with you all.
And also with you. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Let's clear some messages. Do we have time? A few seconds, perhaps, to clear some messages. Paul Miles says, well said, H. Morgan, and stop wasting time about Portmore becoming the 15th parish. There are other important priorities. Ricardo says, shout out to all the listeners from across the world. Velta Wilson says, we eat too much, Dervan. Jamaicans love to see the mound of food in their containers, especially the carbs. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Join us for 5 exhilarating days of the most anticipated high school track and field sporting event, the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championship, and it's live on onespotmedia.com pay-per-view March 28 to April 1. Purchase your regular season pass for only US $37.99, or the day passes, days 1, 2, and 3, for US $12.99 each. Day 4, $17.99 US, and day 5, $23.99 US. Simply log into onespotmedia.com, select the pay-per-view tab, and buy your ticket. You may also download the One Spot Media app and watch on the go. Purchase your pay-per-view ticket today.
Shake your hand, it's a brand new day. But what we really want to see is love, 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 love. Step into the light of day. We're gonna find us a way that we knew all along. Love is a thing, oh,
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos... son las 5 menos 14. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5 heures moins 14. 现在几点了？5点加14分. 14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned in to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? This one says, Mr. Malcolm, today's start of Ramadan, the only month of the Muslim I ever heard you mention that. No, we had a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Dr. Sultan Afroz. Haven't heard anything about her in a while, but Dr. Afroz, having had the pleasure of having conversations with her, I'm quite conversant with these matters. And in fact, invariably what we do is to highlight these special holidays, including Ramadan. There are instances in which we don't get around to always updating the holiday observance list at times. And so we may or may not miss one or two of those. So that's really what happened, if you must know. Thank you very much for your message. And let's continue with some more. This one says, I don't necessarily buy the view that if you said something reprehensible, that it says something about you, because it is possible for all of us to err and say something uncharacteristic that is not reflective of who we normally are. You can't disown it. That's the thing, though. You can't disown it. It's like one of my favorite Bob Marley's is, you're running and you're running and you're running away, but you can't run away from yourself. Anyway, the message goes on. I remember Obama saying something about Kamala Harris that many considered sexist, and he eventually apologized. Does that remark define Obama's attitude to women? I think not. Well, you'd be surprised. There might very well be women who still have up Obama, in a manner of speaking, for that. But you don't know. You are not in everybody's thoughts and minds and all of that thing. So I wouldn't be surprised. And there might have been those who were turned off and perhaps have decided not to vote again ever, or never to vote vote Democrat as well. You'd be surprised. Finally, this idea that speech made in Parliament should be evaluated differently from speech made on the political hustings should not apply to the PM and the leader of the opposition. Both of these are constitutional officers. The leader of the opposition is not less of a leader in waiting when he is outside of Parliament, nor is the Prime Minister less the leader of the country, and both should be held to very high standards in or out of Parliament. And many of the PNP supporters excusing Golding's remarks because he was on the hustings conveniently forget that most of Siaga's inflammatory statements were not made in Parliament. Bottom line, I don't agree that comments by the PM or Mark Golding are less egregious if made outside of Parliament. I don't know who's arguing that, but clearly you're targeting your message to those who you believe are arguing along those lines. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. When is it we're going to see our politicians using our hospitals, transportation, schools, markets, and living in their constituency to bring value to the lives and the community they serve with greater access to health, education, water, and transportation? And there are many question marks following the question. You get it, right? Here's another one. Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Today is budget day in my province. It's a center-right government like the JLP. It's a good thing for us. We have federal government that cares for the poor. Mr. Malcolm, what is the poverty line in Jamaica? Does the government of Jamaica help Jamaicans to live above the poverty line? Well, the government can always point to the welfare programs such as PATH, which is the most popular of them all, and the other ways in which they touch the lives of the most vulnerable in this country. You will always have the debate. You're not going to escape the debate as to whether it's adequate or not. It's just a fact of life. This one says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I would like you to use this song for your theme song tomorrow. I know Bob Marley, Dr. Nigel Clark has become, I think I read this yesterday. I read that message yesterday. Let's move on. And this one says, who is this now? Hi, cuz. I don't know which cousin is this now. I don't have good news. Prepping for that. I'm sorry. The person who messaged us, is it Ronnie? Ronnie S. We need a little more information. What? We need a little more information, please. A little more information. And this one, we're just trying our best right now to clear what's left in terms of the messages. I hope all is well. Apologies that. Wanted to get a Looks like I have a lot of homework to do, a lot of follow-up messages from what I'm seeing coming in. All right, boy. Can we manage any more? But we'll do our best. We'll do our best. We will certainly do our best. I think we're missing another one. Let's see. Let's go through this. Okay, here we go. Oh, this was a leftover message from Crocs. I think this was yesterday, wasn't it? But we didn't get around to reading it because it came in at 4:49 p.m. When we were close to wrapping. There is an irony in what... Oh, no, we read that already as well. I think we have covered all the messages. We've covered all the messages. Let's see if there are any fresh messages. All right, let's look over here on YouTube. Taki Lemqua Bless says, on the downside of the afternoon, Dervan and all on board, there is so much to be accomplished, but it just takes one step at a time and the will to do so. Listening from New Jersey. Thank you, Taki Lemqua in New Jersey. Henry Morant says, hi, Dervan. I greet you well. I've been asked by members of the Brotherhood of St. Andrew. I think maybe this is for off air, isn't it? Maybe an interview request. All right, we'll deal with that. Crocs, this one now is a little too long, so we're going to have to save it for tomorrow because we are just about at the closing section of the program. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Thursday, the 23rd of March, 2023. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Everybody, everything will be well. The sound of the spitting of the bell is just too good to ignore. You say, hey my man, that's your brother on the street. You say, hey my man, every time we meet. Hey your brother, you go mad. Hey your sister, shake your hand, it's a brand new day. And we can say it anyway. But what we really want to see is love, 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 love. You go mad, hey sister, shake your hand, it's a brand new day. But what we really want to see is love, 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 love. Send it to the light of day. We're gonna find us a way that we knew all along. Love is a thing, or a beggar, or a king. And these rules things, well, love is the song. Hey, my man, let's have a run around the street. You say, hey, my man, every time we meet. Hey, brother, you go mad. Hey, sister, shake your hand. It's a brand new day. And we can say it anyway. But what we really want to say is love, 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 love. That's your brother on the street. Hey, man, every time we meet. Hey, brother, you go mad. Hey, sister, shake your hand. It's a brand new day. We can say it anyway. But what we really want to say is love, 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 love. That's your brother on the street. Hey, my man, every time we meet. Hey, brother, you go mad. Hey, sister, shake your hand. It's a brand new day. We can say it anything. But what we really want to see is love, 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 love. That's your brother on the street.
Bye.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.